Hello everyone, I'm Sarah of Rich Textures Crochet and welcome. Today we're going to be learning how to crochet the Macy dishcloth. Now this is the dishcloth here. It has a beautifully textured front to it. It's quite pretty. It's fairly thick as well, which makes it a great stitch for a washcloth. This is the back. Quite nice as well, just not as much texture. I finished off the washcloth with a simple edging. These washcloths are quite easy and quick to make. I'm going to be working them with a 100% cotton yarn. This is the Pima Cotton by Lion Brand. There's approximately 186 yards per ball of yarn. You're not going to need the whole ball, only about half of it or so, depending on how large you'd like to make it, as it is one that's quite easy to adjust as well. We're also going to be using a 5mm. This is the Birchwood crochet hook by Rowan. This is an H8 or a 5mm crochet hook. You'll need both of these items. Also a copy of the free written instructions, which are on richtexturescrochet.com, and you'll find that direct link down in the description of this video. So thank you so much for joining me. While you're here, I invite you to subscribe. There are lots of other crochet dishcloth and washcloth and scrubby patterns if you're looking for some more of those here on my channel. And then this channel is updated every single week with free crochet patterns and stitch tutorials. So let's grab our hooks and yarn and get started. Now our dishcloth today is worked in rows and it measures approximately 8 inches by 8 inches square. So start by making a slip knot and then by working a foundation chain. Today our foundation chain is going to be 30 stitches. Now if you'd like to change the length of your washcloth or the width of your washcloth, you're going to want to chain a multiple of 2 stitches, so an even number of stitches for your foundation chain. Today we'll chain 30. Once you have that foundation chain worked, you're going to begin row 1 by working a single crochet into the second chain from your hook. I'm working into my back bumps, but it really doesn't matter for this crochet pattern. So single crochet into that second chain from your hook, and then single crochet into each stitch all the way across at the end of this row. And for every row throughout, you'll have a total of 29 stitches. At the end of row 1, you're going to chain 1 and turn your work. Now for row 2, we're going to begin by working a single crochet into our first stitch. Your chain 1 does not count as a stitch. You're then going to work a single crochet, but in the front loop only, in each stitch across until only 1 stitch remains. So to find our front loop only, we're going to look at the top of our stitch and we have a loop that is the furthest away from us. That is our back loop. This loop that is closest to us, that's our front loop. So you're going to insert your hook under that front loop only and work a single crochet. You're going to do this into each stitch all the way across until only 1 stitch remains. So single crochet in the front loop only and each stitch across until only 1 stitch remains. When you come all the way across and you have only 1 stitch remaining, you're going to work a single crochet into that final stitch, working under both loops. You can then chain 1 and turn your work. Now for row 3, we're going to start working some of that texture in the pattern. We're going to begin row 3 by working a single crochet into the first stitch, and then a cluster stitch into the front loop only of the next stitch, but 2 rows below. So when you're looking at your work, you will see now that there's a front loop down just under the next stitch. You're going to work under that stitch. To work your cluster stitch, yarn over, insert your hook under that front loop only of the next stitch 2 rows below, yarn over, draw up a loop. Do that one more time, yarn over, insert your hook under the front loop only, yarn over and draw up a loop. You have 5 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 5 loops. You're then going to work a single crochet into the next stitch, working under both loops. You're going to repeat this all the way across. Work a cluster stitch, working under the front loop only of the next stitch 2 rows below. And then single crochet into the next stitch of the previous row. Repeat all the way across. Until you have 1 stitch remaining. Once you come all the way across at the end of row 3, you're going to single crochet under both loops of that final stitch. For row 4, chain 1 and turn your work. We're now essentially going to repeat row 2 and work a single crochet into that first stitch, working under both loops. And then working under the front loop only, you're going to single crochet into each stitch all the way across until you come to that final stitch. When you come all the way across and you have the 1 stitch remaining, you're going to work your final single crochet, working under both loops. Chain 1 and turn your work. Now for rows 5 through to 25, you're going to repeat your rows 3 and 4. So row 3, beginning with a single crochet into the first stitch, and then work your cluster stitch under that front loop only 2 rows below. Single crochet into the next stitch, and cluster stitch working in the front loop only of the next stitch, but 2 rows below. Repeat that all the way across, single crochet into your final stitch, chain 1, turn your work, and then repeat your row 4. At the end of row 25, you'll have ended on a single crochet row, and you will have 12 rows worked of your cluster stitches with those single crochet rows in between. So at the end of row 25, you can meet me back here. At the end of row 25, this is what your work looks like from the beginning. There's no need to fasten off. What we're going to do is work a simple reverse single crochet edging all the way around. To work the reverse single crochet edging, you're going to chain 1, and then instead of working your single crochet stitches forward, so as I am working right-handed, I'm working from right to left. We're going to instead work in the opposite direction, working single crochet stitches. So bring your hook back and into the previous stitch. I'm kind of skipping my corner stitch there and just working back into the previous stitch. Insert your hook, yarn, it's kind of yarn under, I guess, and bring up a loop and complete your single crochet. You're going to work this single crochet, reverse single crochet stitch in each stitch all the way across the top of your washcloth, working into each stitch all the way across. When you come all the way across the top of your washcloth, working those reverse single crochet stitches, you're going to turn your work so that you're working along this rough edge, and you're simply going to continue working the reverse single crochet stitches along the rough edge. Now, in my written instructions, I did not put a specific number of stitches just due to the nature of the reverse single crochet stitch. It can take up a little bit more space. It's a little bit longer than a regular single crochet. So sometimes you don't quite want to work as many stitches as I would normally recommend to work along the side. So you just want to work them so that they're evenly spread out. I think I'm probably working one at the end of almost every row. If you find that your stitch is bunching a little bit or it's stretching the fabric out, you can miss a space in between or just make your reverse single crochet just a little bit longer. So you're just going to continue working them all the way down the rough edge of your washcloth until you come to the next corner. Now I'm almost there. When you come to that next corner, you're going to turn your work so that you're working along the bottom, and then once again work a reverse single crochet stitch into each of the stitches all the way across. Again, if you're going across and you're finding that it is bunching a little bit, don't hesitate to skip a stitch as needed. You're going to continue all the way across the bottom side of your washcloth. Then turn your work when you come to the next corner and work up the side. And then when you come back to that first stitch, you're going to join with a slip stitch into the first stitch. And I'll show you that as I come around. When you come all the way around and have worked your reverse single crochet stitches all the way around your edge, I just like to turn my work and then join with the slip stitch around that first stitch. You can then take your pair of scissors, fasten off, and weave in any ends, and that's how you work your Macy dishcloth. Now you may find that you need to stretch it out a little bit if it's gotten a little bit scrunched from the stitches, but that's it. That is your Macy dishcloth. So thank you so much for joining me, and once again I invite you to subscribe, take a look around, and I look forward to seeing you again next time. Until then, happy crocheting. Bye.